All right. We are live. We are back.
Yep.
All right, guys. Episode 21. We are back in the studio. Today it is O and myself. T had a loss in the family, so condolences to his family members. We don't ever want to hear that news, but that is the reality of life, right? So hopefully everything goes well for him. I hope he'll be back soon. Oh, how have you been? We got a little bit before our guest gets here. How have you been?
Really good. Just
Uh-oh.
extremely busy, but no,
Yeah.
just really good. Labor Day weekend was great.
I forgot it was a holiday. Thank you for your service.
Oh, no
I
problem.
always forget I'm bad with holidays, dude. I don't be paying no attention.
You know what? I wish my brothers thanked me for my service, but apparently I put a service in to cook them some food.
It's hot. It's hot. No, things have been cool on my end. We had the event last week. I wish
How
you
was
got
it?
it was cool, man. Oh my gosh. That event was very, very humbling. It was the Big D Reads. Shout out to Leah, Think 3 Media, Deep Vellum Booking, Deep Vellum Books, Will Evans, Joaquin Zihataneo. I got his name right. Ooh. So I interviewed him, Jim Schutz, the author of the book, The Accommodation. And so it was an interesting, very deep-seated event, very humbling. Didn't know Dallas had this much of a dark history. I always felt something was a tad bit off because Black excellence just is like hard to reach in this city. And so knowing that there's been these purposeful constructs in place all this time was definitely eye-opening.
I really like
But necessary. Like, we need that kind of, these are things that you didn't probably learn in school. I didn't learn in school. Like, they don't teach that kind of stuff. So
You have to really research all that stuff.
and you got to dig because they embed it, they hide it. So the book, The Accommodation, I've posted it up, but it's a great book. I've started reading it. It's very, very, very depressing. It is depressing, but it's necessary. So shout out to Jim Schutz, Will Evans, all the people that I got to interview. I was humbled to be around all of these people. Like, I never expected in the first year of podcasting that we would be doing anything like this. So I'm super happy that that we I can hear. I was like, oh, the fan. I know. It's hot. It's hot because of what you said, but I'm like, no, it's really hot. Like, it's hot in here today. But anyway, no, I was super excited for the event. It was very, very humbling. We have more coming up, so those interviews will be out this Thursday. They'll be released visually and auditorily, so you'll catch it everywhere. The studio paired with us or partnered with us to help us with that. So thank you, Hello Studios, for doing all the videography and following me around with the camera, making me look like I'm important. So that was cool. And again, thank you to Leah for inviting us to every event that she invites us to. She's such a mentor in this field. So I definitely am happy that we have her on our team. So that was cool.
Leia's awesome,
Yeah, she's awesome, man. Well, she'll be here soon, actually. Thank God. She'll be here to sit and talk with us. So we're just going to keep this interview train rolling. So as far as interviews, typically we would do topics and all that stuff. But today we're going to talk with someone about Airbnbs. He's a great friend of mine. His name is Ben Jimenez. His handle is Ben Sells Texas. I think that just means because he's selling every piece of real estate property, type of commercial, residential. Like, he's involved in real estate. He owns real estate. He is an Airbnb host. Him and his father own a boxing gym. He went to school for engineering. The dude just comes with a lot. So him and I have been friends since college. So I'm going to go and grab him and bring him in, and then we'll get to talking to Ben. Be right back. How you sounding over there? You sound good? Looking good? Feel good? Oh, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, we're back. Let's give a round of applause. I lied. It's a horn. I lied. Absolutely lied. That's a round of applause. No, we'll get you air horns and round of applause, man. Welcome, Ben, to the show. Thank you for coming in. We've been planning on this for a long time, and you and I have known each other for quite a long time. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, look where we're at now. We're doing different things that we started out doing. You started out in engineering.
Yeah.
And managing the boxing gym or boxing? You're managing your dad's, right? Or
yeah, started boxing and then managing the gym.
Okay. Ben has a cool backstory, so I'll let him introduce himself. It's my co-host. You have never met her before.
Yeah.
You've met D earlier, so give everyone a little bit about your backstory, where you came from, and where you're at now.
Yeah. So Since you brought up the boxing gym, yeah, I started boxing as a kid. Um, Family had a gym that they opened up when I was in high school, and my dad, you know, he was doing both full time. At the beginning, he was just doing the gym, but then he got back to working. He was doing like welding, like programming for welders, and he was just, he didn't have time, so he had me run it, and then I ran it through school, then through college, and I was going to school for software engineer, so I got my degree, and then I moved out of state for a while.
Utah, was it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so how did you land? And this is just, I'm asking this story because there's plenty of guys that look like you and I and girls that look like you and I and that don't know how all that can even, first of all, they don't know how to get to college.
Yeah.
Second of all, how do you pivot to another career from college? Like after you got, like a lot of people don't even know how to do all these things. So what made you pivot from engineering into where you're at now? What was the breaking point?
Man, so I work a salary job, and I don't know. I mean, the road to go higher, it's really long, and it's not necessarily based on performance, is what I've learned, through being in the industry. It's a lot about like relationships, who you know. I don't know. I wanted something that I felt like my work would return back, what I put in. And I feel like where I'm at now in the software game, it wasn't really like that. It's more, a lot of waiting, and I just didn't like waiting anymore.
Right.
So I wanted to do something myself.
Similar to my industry, similar to your, there's a lot of, well, it's a 9 to 5. If you have a 9 to 5, there is a shit ton of waiting and you get tired of that.
And I mean, school was waiting for one.
Yeah.
It just feels like
at
waiting.
least 4 years.
Yeah.
If you do it right, at least 4 years. And then not to mention, I don't know if you had the luxury of having grants or someone fund you, but if you don't, there's that part too. You got to break even at some point. So it's a long time before you operate in the black if you just play school 9 to 5 and that's it. So what made you want to break away what was the breaking point? Like something had to happen to say, I'm done with this. Like, did someone introduce you to real estate? Like, was it something that you just kind of always wanted to do? Or
I wanted to get a home and I wanted to rent it out. I wanted to start doing investment properties. And I was looking at different properties, and I came across this one house, and they were selling it fully furnished, and they said it had been an Airbnb prior to selling. So the house, it looked like it had a lot of makeup on it. It looked like it needed some work, but they sent me the numbers that the house ran for the previous year, and I was just like amazed. And there were houses in the same neighborhood. I found a different property that looked just, they redid it. It looked new, modern. It looked really nice. So I was like, why don't I just get this better deal, furnish it myself, and then do the same thing?
Okay. So cost-wise, I think you wanted to ask him something because you're talking about money now. And you're talking about investing, so that it's going to cost you some money. I'm assuming your 9 to 5 was funding that, right? Like it would have to be, right?
Yeah.
So what was I know you wanted to ask him something about budgeting or something.
Well,
I know we talked about it.
Budgeting, like what kind of budget would you have to have just to even start off doing something like an Airbnb?
So to start off, I mean, let's see what I put in besides the actual, mortgage and the down payment and all that.
Yeah.
I think I put a little under 10%. I went the FHA route.
Okay.
After that, it depends how long it takes you to get started up. See, the longer you're waiting, you're paying that mortgage out of your pocket. The sooner you can get it on the market, you're going to start making money back faster.
So for a person starting out, let's say I am sitting here. By the way, I hope you have your pen and pad because this is good information. So a person that's starting out, what is step one?
Yes.
Step one.
Is it locate property? Is it check credit? Is it fixed credit? Is it FHA? Like what is step one? Because a lot of times people don't even know how to get the ball rolling. They don't know where to start. And that's where people just quit initially.
Yeah.
So what's step one?
If you're looking to do Airbnb, I would say step one would just be acquiring a home. So you're going to run through the home purchase process, get with a lender. I can recommend lenders, or a lot of people will know lenders. But
shout them out, man, whenever you want.
Get with a lender, see what you are already at. You'll get your credit score. You'll get, you'll know your numbers. They'll tell you what you can afford. And
what would be, sidebar, what is a good credit? This also has to do with debt to income ratio. So there's a lot of factors, but theoretically you have no debt, right? Let's say what's a good credit score to start out in this area? Like what would be 650, 700, 720?
I believe the loans start at 620. Like that's the minimum.
Okay.
And
Okay.
from
So-
there, it would just be at debt to income, and then
Right.
how much money you're pulling in. You could have no debt, but you could barely make anything, and
Right.
it's not gonna
Hurt you.
work out either.
So for all of you guys who are out there making 30,000, 40,000, this is not out of the realm of possibility if you're maintaining your debt, if you're maintaining your credit score and having healthy credit. So that means credit data too. It's another part of credit. But so I'm assuming, did you know your credit? Was your credit score? No, not to.
So
to pry.
my credit score was good. Like
Okay.
I don't think I had late payments or anything.
Okay.
I didn't think my credit was that great. Because I don't feel like I've had so many cards and credit cards
Right,
and I mean, I don't have a lot of bills that would bring it up. So I didn't know it was really good or anything.
Okay.
But it was good.
Okay. So as far as like she said, budgeting, I guess what your question is, like you're looking for like more of like a flat price. Like, okay, do I need 10,000? Do I need 20? Do I need 12? Do I need? And from what you told me, I know we had this conversations offline, is that once you find the house you're looking for, 3.5% down. And so I've done 3.5% on everything up to maybe 300,000 or 400,000, just doing math. And it roughly averages between 10 to 15,000 was the down payment.
Yeah.
To give you guys perspective, so around 10 to 15, if you have everything in place like you're supposed to, seems to be about right. If I'm not mistaken, is that close
Yeah.
to? Okay.
And I mean, it depends on size too. I mean, you could start with something smaller. Like there's plenty of Airbnbs that do, like an apartment. They'll do like you can do
apartments?
condos. Yeah,
Can you-
condos, apartments.
Oh, yes, you can. I did stay in one of those. Yeah,
But
you
I mean,
can.
it depends, on
Okay.
on whoever runs that building, like the management. Sometimes,
Doesn't
like
go
you have
for
to
that.
figure that out before
Okay.
you go and buy that specific condo.
Okay.
But yeah, that's like a smaller venture. You wouldn't have to furnish as much stuff. You wouldn't have to bring as much things. A lot of the stuff, like everything I got, was like mainly off Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace.
I got you.
Except like kitchen stuff, I just want IKEA because you can get the same thing. You can buy that same plate. They have like
Over
a
and
million
over and
plates.
over.
Things are
Yeah.
gonna break. You're gonna have to restock things.
So So watch your costs, your overhead.
don't
Okay.
don't put too much thought into every little detail because some stuff, like remember, it's guests that have this stuff. You
True.
can't really be attached to it because
Right,
it
right,
might
right.
break.
I'm sorry. What was your
Oh
question?
no, it's just okay. So I know I'm part of the hospitality industry myself, and I'm thinking that is there a specific type of theme or audience when doing Airbnbs? Because I've seen people do some. I have.
I like that. I like
I've
that.
know a friend who he rents. I think they have two apartments that are Airbnbs, and they have different themes. I mean, you have some that have little pop-up little shops or whatever, like pop-up shops, and pictures and clouds on the ceiling. Is that a smart route? Like, are those smart routes to go up? Because I know you said that it was.
I mean,
Some people can do
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you get like say an apartment,
Yeah.
or you get something that has a lot of inventory, like you have a lot of competition, then yeah, you will have to do things to set yourself apart. Me personally, I like to go bigger homes because, like, if I'm thinking from a logical standpoint, I like to think about money when I travel or I'm staying somewhere. I'm thinking how much is it going to cost. I'm not
Right.
Yeah.
just going to stay in the Airbnb because it's cool. Like, I'm going to stay in the better deal. Yeah,
Right.
there's a couple things to weigh out. So the reason I went with like bigger homes was if you have 4 people, okay, you could stay in a hotel and save money. Like, why would you get an Airbnb
True.
if you're going to have that same route? Now, if you have bigger groups, like there's no hotels for that. We're the only option. So we cornered the market in that aspect.
So that's why you go for the large. So you're trying to attack the larger groups. So that's
Yeah.
your target audience. And as far as what she's saying, visually, what's your target audience? When they walk in, how do you know? Do I want to look at an Apple store? Do I want to look
Yeah.
at like
Yeah.
a Toys R Us? Like, what do I want to look at when I walk into? I guess that's how do you pick? I guess what she's asking is how do you choose a theme, so to speak?
Yeah, a
Like,
specific type of audience,
Right.
because some people have a specific type of audience. Like, I guess, like being in the hospitality industry, I know that a lot of our hotels that we have a certain type of audience that we attract.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking the question was the specific type of audience. You said that, I'm attracting 4 people, so I'm going to have like a bigger,
Venue.
like a bigger venue.
Right.
And it's true with hotels. It does get expensive when you have about 4 people because we do have certain rates when it comes to that. And it's not you're not going to get like the full on experience that you would an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this, because I don't have any photos of, what does your Airbnb look like? One of these days we gotta go check it out. So when I walk in, what do I see first? Is it more neutral? Is it boho? Is it mid-century modern? Like what's
It's just renovated. It looks clean. It's just clean. I wanted the clean feel. I wasn't really worried. I have, decorations and stuff.
Course.
I'm not the greatest designer. I had a couple of people come in and help me out, Yeah, I was inviting people over. Building furniture, all that. I was throwing little parties.
Yeah.
Little furniture parties.
Okay. But how many do you have now total?
I only have one. I'm searching for another one right now.
Okay. So let me ask you this. In the marketplace right now, how difficult is it to find the location that you're looking for? Because I know a lot of it's got to be location. If I'm going to travel to Dallas, I wouldn't want to stay in Rockwall if I could stay in Bishop Arts or East Dallas or something relatively close to, downtown.
Get that city
now,
experience.
Exactly.
I have one in Dallas. I want to do another one outside of Dallas because I don't want to double dip in the same city. Plus, I don't know what the future will look like as far as rules on short-term rentals. Fort Worth, they're banned right now.
You can't do Airbnbs in Fort Worth.
You can. I swear I've seen them on the website, but
right.
Technically you can't do them.
What would be the reason to ban something
That's
like that?
That's what I'm saying.
So, I don't know. I guess neighbors complain. If you think about some houses, like it depends on the house, but you could have like a nice, setup,
right?
Invite parties, all that.
It depends
on the guests. It could depend. Yeah, it could depend on the neighbors. How strict they are. With like outside people coming in.
Is that like neighbors directly, or is it like an HOA thing?
So I've heard stories about HOA too. I heard this story in Fort Worth. So this supposedly happened before they banned Airbnbs. There was this lady, she rented out her home on the weekends, and this local rapper came and he rented the place to shoot a music video there. And basically,
why
they were posting videos, and like a rival gang came and they got into like a shootout there in the neighborhood, and like
we can't have nothing.
The whole HOA banned.
Of course, I would too. Y'all gotta get the hell out of my neighborhood. Like, if you're gonna have an Airbnb in this neighborhood, that's fine, but that cannot happen.
I didn't think things like that. Like, I didn't think the guy was gonna tell me such a crazy story. I thought he was gonna say like, "Hey, they had a party and they like destroyed the place."
I've been to an Airbnb party.
Yeah,
I've been to several. Didn't even know it was Airbnb until after I left. Had no clue. But it was also respectful and quiet and all that, so no one knew. But there is that alternative. So as a host, how does that make you feel? Or how do you actually not even how does that make you feel? How do you protect yourself in that?
So I have a management company.
Okay.
They will monitor like from the cameras. They'll see who's coming in, and they're 24/7. And then they also have like not a mic, but it'll sense like the decibels.
Right.
So like they have stuff like that.
So if the volume is, I got you. Is that? I'm assuming that's something you probably have a set.
I mean, I don't know what it is. They said.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I've never would have thought to do that. Okay. So you have a management company. You also have renovation as well. I'm thinking of all the different ins and outs of Airbnb. You have the management company to visually see it. Who takes care of lawn care? Who takes care of water bill? They take care of everything.
So they take care of everything. So the bills, I take care of the bills.
Right, because it pays for itself.
Yeah, I mean, they send me to like a W-2, so I just get that every month. And I handle the bills. They handle like the cleaning, the lawn, and then basic maintenance, which I'm gonna have to go in and handle.
Yeah, like that's one you want to make sure. Yeah.
I had a pipe break. Oh. And I had like a little flood under my house.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Because it's hot too, so that can cause mold, right?
So it's pier and beam. So my floors are like peeling right now. Oh. So I'm gonna have to go deal with that.
Oh.
Yeah. Lord.
Yeah, see, you want to own an Airbnb, this is what you need to know. A lot of people won't tell you the ins and outs. They'll tell you, I make this much and I have this, but they won't tell you, hey, my floors are having these issues.
I mean, but
having
this isn't
like,
even, this wasn't even like the guest's fault.
It's just the house itself.
Yeah, I mean, they told me it had some old, like, kind of bust down pipes, so I'm gonna have to go and take a look at that as well. But at least on the positive note, I'm coming off of a super long term rental. Someone rented like from April all the way to today. So like
in one stay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I'm assuming is because this has happened a couple times.
Saturday?
No. I'm talking April.
Right.
All the way till today.
And they've been there.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So they're paying
you can
like
do Airbnb that long?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I always thought it was like a short thing.
I think it's insurance thing. I
bet
bet it was like, their house.
So here's a random question.
Happened.
What's the maximum amount of time I can rent an Airbnb?
Forever.
So what makes it a short-term rental? Because it has that option.
I mean, because, people don't typically do long-term. Like, I wouldn't. Why would you just rent that? It's a lot of money.
Right. But you'll take it. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm sure insurance had to do with it because it was such a high amount you could put a down payment on a home. Like, it's...
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. Well, I guess that brings it to another question I had. And feel free to interject.
No, you go ahead.
Why would you choose to do Airbnb as opposed to just leasing or renting a house? Like why would you categorize it as Airbnb? Why not just have a rental, 1 family, 2 family household versus Airbnb?
So, it was when I started looking, it was a little harder to make the numbers work for that. For a long-term rental, man, maybe if I got lucky, I could net like $200 a month, and then that's still like not factoring. I would have had this flood regardless. So imagine if I had to do all the floors and deal with all that.
You're only netting,
It wouldn't. I don't know. It's a lot of work to put in just to like make change. I feel like so.
Okay.
I went this route. It's a little riskier because there are months I've had 2 bad months. It was January and February of 2022.
What's considered a bad month?
Like, I don't make my mortgage.
Okay. So what happens in that scenario? This is real life. So what happens when you're in that scenario?
It comes out of pocket.
There you go. So for all you people asking about the budgeting question, that might be another thing.
I wanted to ask about that peak season, though. Because everybody got their peak season.
I still net, like, good money. Even I can
in downtime.
eat that mortgage. The mortgage, those 2 months, like, I mean, I was sweating because I didn't know how it was going to perform, but it made up for itself easily.
So what's, I guess, go ahead with your question. I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask about because I mean, I think you were asking specifically about the peak season, but I definitely wanted to know, like, is it the summertime you're making most of your money, especially that you are in Dallas, you're in the city? What's the influx that comes in for this specific city?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Literally.
Honestly, so far, it's every month except like November to February was the slowest. Everything was great.
I'm assuming it's probably based on holiday travel, if I had to guess.
See, I thought that, but no, people are renting just random week. Like, I had a booking for today to Saturday, which I had to decline because of the floors.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a random time,
right?
Like, school just came back. Like, what's the holiday? I mean, the holiday was last week, right?
Right.
So what are people doing this week?
Okay.
But yeah, people are just coming in all the time. Like, I would have thought the same thing. Like, oh, these holidays are coming up. I should be good. The holidays have been probably the worst. Like,
really,
I'm thinking because Dallas. I think people just want to leave Dallas during the holiday because they're here all year round. I'm thinking people just are going other places.
It's kind of the same thing as, like, we call it, like, when I was on deployment, the Weslaco, South Texas.
Oh, okay.
Is known to be, I forgot what they're called. Oh, a lot of older people go to South Texas.
Winter Texans.
Winter Texans.
I've never even heard that. What is that?
They got
What's a winter Texan?
Somebody who, like, if it gets too cold,
they go to the hot.
And so some of them,
they could wait like an extra day, it'll get hot again.
Man, some of them, like, when I was trying to go to Padre Island, a lot of those Airbnbs, they were hard to book.
Nuts.
Yes. Like, they stay on Padre Island, they'll stay in South Dallas. So that's why I was asking about those peak seasons, because
it's Dallas and it's different.
Yeah,
I've never even thought about that. Winter Texans, that's a new one. Okay, so that I'm assuming that probably affects you too. Let me ask you this: so, how do you protect your investment?
How do I protect my investment?
Yes.
Is it LLC? Is it trademark? Is it copyrights? How do you protect it?
Insurance.
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 No, I don't
okay.
have it under an LLC right now.
Would you ever though?
Yeah, I want multiple.
I
if
got
I'm gonna
you.
do that.
Okay.
And then I also
Wait, multiple LLCs as far as like.
no, multiple properties.
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
properties.
Okay.
For one, this first year it was more like a see how it's gonna go type thing,
Of course.
and it's going well. So when I add the second one, I'll put it under.
So I'm assuming you let your property pay for another property.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, and this is just a lesson for you guys out there too when you're investing. Especially, I know a lot of my friends want to buy a house, a lot of them want to buy a car, a lot of them want to do all these traditional things.
I want a car too.
Of course, right? But I told one of my friends, I was like, I plan to be the friend that doesn't go the traditional route.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go the unorthodox route of allowing my investments to pay for those types of things. Once you know that, you can't unlearn it.
Yeah.
That's why I want to give this information to whoever's listening.
Yeah.
Once you know this kind of information, you can't go back from it. Yeah. So now that I know I can do Airbnb or I can invest in stock or crypto or all these other things, why would I go and get a mortgage and just pay to live there? Mm-hmm. Right? I'd rather just have someone else do all that living and expenses and just pay me. And then I can allow that at some point, if I can replicate that, I don't know how many times you plan to, but I would say just sky's the limit, go as many as you can. If you can replicate that enough amount of times, you pick a stopping point and go, okay, I have enough here. Let's pull out and go do a house for myself. Or you flip one of your properties that you already have that's paid for itself and just live there. Would you? Yeah. Is that about the mindset you have, or what's the mindset that you?
That is the mindset,
okay.
And I wouldn't necessarily go short term for all my properties. So one thing I look for in the property too, like I do want it to look right with the numbers for long-term or long-term rental. Like it's hard to get it just right. So they're not like perfect, because if it was perfect, I would do long-term rental. There's less risk,
Right.
But
when you say you want the numbers to look perfect, what do you mean?
Like I want to make sure the mortgage is covered, everything, all the bills are covered, and I'm not coming out of pocket, because then that's it's just more stuff coming out of my pocket.
What are you doing this for?
I want to be able to expand, and I can't expand if I'm putting money in every little thing.
Is there like a true algorithm to this? So is it worth it to wear that algorithm?
What I was asking, what the steps? Yeah.
So the way I do it, I know there used to be like the 1% rule, which was like 1%. You should be able to rent the house out for 1% of what you purchased it for. But it's harder to work out now.
When I think it's about the math, I was like, that seems kind of hard to do, though.
I know, right?
Yeah. If it's
that used to be the thing.
That
used to be a thing.
That's
now it's more like situational based. The way I will check is like I have the database access, as a realtor, so I can see, last 30, 45 days. Maybe 90, that's kind of reaching. But I'll check back and see, what the properties in that little radius. And I'll get like I'll do like price per square foot. I'll like compare, what it rented for. And that's how you can find.
He's talking that talk. See, I don't even know. Yeah. He's also a real estate agent, so he has access. So for all of you savvy real estate agents who don't know what to do with your real estate license, here's another thing you could do.
Hey, but even if you don't have access to that, you could see what's on the market. Like you can go to Zillow and see what's for rent in that little area, in that neighborhood you're looking for a home at. And
but what are you looking at that Zillow isn't showing the average consumer, though? What is it that your real estate database is showing you in detail that I can't see?
So people are looking at the map and they're seeing what the prices are.
Right.
But that's just what they are. They haven't closed. So, like, if you didn't sell the property, I don't care about your numbers, Like, I want to see numbers that were already being run.
Okay.
And, what you listed at now is like a guess, technically. It's your best, it's... With your knowledge, you listed at that good price, but some agents will be listing at. I've seen some crazy crazy prices just over. Sellers don't want to budge. Some people, they're attached to a property.
Right.
They think it's worth a lot more than it really is.
But that price that you see is negotiable as well, too, right? That's not a final price.
It's negotiable, but you're at the end of the day, you're negotiating with the owner, and like the owner has the last say. So no matter what sales agents do, or even the listing agent, like it still has to be approved by the owner, because the owner at the end of the day is the one selling it.
So when you first found that property, was it a hard process negotiating, or was it?
No, it had been on the market for a while.
So he or she was ready.
I bid under.
I got you. So do you always advise to bid under or bid at?
That depends on the market. Right now, a bit under everything.
Okay.
Not everything, but the majority of things.
So for a person listening right now, she was asking about steps in the process. How would they know when it's a good time to bid, when it's not a good time? Like when you just look, because if I go plug into, let's say Zillow right now, I see the number, but I don't know if this is a good time to bid, if this is a good, not a good time to bid. I have no idea. So it's like, how would I know if I'm just looking from the average consumer's eyes? Like, what would I know to look at? Like, how would I know it's a good time to get into the game, or should I hold off? Like, how would I know?
So, man, as a consumer, that's a hard question. But like things you can look at would be, hold on. I lost my
You're good. You're good.
I lost my train of thought.
I have a tendency to do that to people. I'm sorry,
Ask me
man.
the question again. Ask me the question
So,
again.
I'll run it back. As a consumer, how do you know when it's optimal
Yeah.
to bid, and when it's optimal
wait.
to bid under, or when you should just hold them? Like,
So-
like
Yeah, so on the houses, like again, it's gonna be situational based. I mean, the market you can read up on the market, but it still doesn't pertain to every home. You're gonna want to check like the days on the market, how long it's been listed, because that's your leverage. That's a main leverage right there. If they've been on the market for a while, that could mean a lot of things. Either they're overpriced, they came in a little too high. You have the most leverage the first days you list. So if they came in too high, they're going to sit for a long time. The longer they sit, the lower they're going to drop.
right. I would never known that.
So that's a big thing. But
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
some homes can sit for a while and they can be priced right. I mean, you can just have, layouts. There's a lot of things that would make people not buy,
I got a military question.
Yeah, I got a layout question, but I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
It's about that VA.
Okay.
Because I haven't decided what I wanted to use my VA for.
VA benefits.
Like our VA benefits for like the VA loan.
Oh, teach me. I don't know about that. I'm not military, so I don't know. So,
no,
you
so-
get loans for housing?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. Your VA loan, it could be used for housing, pretty much, buying a house. And I believe you can do for also if you want to get property, like business property and land. So if I can remember that correctly when I first joined.
So this is the gentleman that might be able to tell you how to apply it. There you go.
That's what I was about to ask
There you
about
go.
that.
As far as residential, like the guidelines I know for the VA loan, I remember I'm not a lender, but I've been working with VA recently. So you don't have to put 0% down on the loan. You get a lowered interest rate. And then, but you do pay, I don't remember what it's called. You pay 1% towards the government to fund that loan.
I'm so mad right now.
I like how the fact they
that-
said 1%. When they told me that, I was like, I already give 1,000% to my life already.
They should be giving you an advance, but like that's still cool though. That's even more leverage than because 3.5% is what you told me for the consumer, right?
Like me
so
personally,
that's even better.
I like the fact that you don't have to put anything down, but I would always want to put something down just because I want that monthly to be lower. But
I said the same thing.
You do also get the better APRs. Like they'll give you a better interest rate.
Who gets the better APR? VA?
VA, yeah.
No,
Like
you
1%,
should.
like
I'm not
1%
taking
lower.
anything away from you. You should, yes, but damn. Like,
It was just like the fault.
man, I know it's like, come on, man. But yeah, no, that's fair. You should.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Go. I'll let you.
No,
continue.
it was the investment. Like, is it smart to use your VA in doing something like an Airbnb, or just you should just use it to just like, hey, I got a family home. That's it.
You could do that. You could do Airbnb. You could do family home. A lot of people do like house hacks now. They'll, buy a decent sized home and then rent out
Like half of it.
some rooms, or you can do by the room. You can do Airbnb by the room.
So my house in Denton, it wasn't an Airbnb, but what the guy did was he took an older house and partitioned it right down the middle and renovated both sides. And so he turned it from one house into basically two, I won't say townhouses, but apartments, so to speak, right?
Like a duplex?
Basically, he turned into a duplex. But when you drove up to it, you didn't see that because he didn't really alter the outside. When you walk into the foyer, you can go right or you can go left. But if you looked at the house, you just think it's a house with just one flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you walked in, it was split. And so my question to you would be like, why? As opposed to Airbnb again, like why not choose something like that in a college town? Get a house you can partition, or like why wouldn't you? Is that something you would do?
See, I thought about that too, and I was thinking of doing the house hack route as well. But I was like, do I want roommates and do I want random people in my house?
Oh, you have to live there too.
I mean, if you house hack,
Theoretically, right? Okay.
I mean, you could do by the room as well, and you don't have to live there. But like, then who's keeping up with the house?
Your management company.
Unless you're.
What is that? I don't think
well,
that
if I
applies.
house hack and I did it by the room, am I hiring a service for each room or like?
Oh wow, it's
I
a
don't
lot
know.
more involved.
You might as well just rent the whole thing out and you get more money.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
But like,
are
I
we-
have a friend, him and his wife, they have like a good sized home, like an older home in East Dallas, and they rent out the room. They just rent to, I think they were able to make it like you can have filters. It's just women that they rent out to, and they majoritarily just get like travel nurses. So like that's
Like
a
share
market I never would have
homes?
thought about. You know.
Or you could do something for military females, like if they want to have a place they can go and call home and not have to worry about all this other crap. Like
I mean, travel nurse is
least,
a good
you know,
one, especially
yeah.
if you're out in Dallas by the hospitals. You know, there's like,
Military too.
yeah.
yes,
Especially if you're National Guard.
they need a place to
We
stay.
because like the government, like they pay a whole bunch of money for us to stay in hotels, and sometimes they'll pay money to spend on Airbnbs.
Yep.
They really do.
That's
Like
actually
Pete,
cool.
like if you're in South Texas, and I know like this one, he's a veteran. He has an Airbnb. The government literally paid him for soldiers to stay at his Airbnb
That's
during
pretty cool.
mission. So he was making money.
Can you advertise? So I guess in advertising with Airbnb, you just accept everybody, right? But is there a way to specify, like, hey, we take VA, we take, just to kind of like signal, like, hey,
No. I don't think you can. I know you can filter, like, I know you can do gender and you can make it like girls only.
really?
I know you can do that.
I didn't know you could
It
do
has
that.
because usually in the military, it's like if there's soldiers that are like under rank, usually if they're not an E5, you're gonna have your roommates. But if it's an Airbnb, I bet you bottom dollar it's a big place, and most of the Airbnbs are gonna have mostly males. If it's a male soldier staying there, if
So-
it's a female, it's gonna be all females.
So what would make you choose? Yours is co-ed, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I
what-
do
is
the
there-
whole house, so it's
Is there
whatever
a
they
reason
want.
why you would choose one or the other?
I mean,
I didn't even know you could do that.
I would do that, you know. You would make that decision if you live there and you were like, let's say you're a female and you're like, I don't want some random dudes in my house. You know?
If you actually reside there. I got you. So here's a good question actually that takes me to this. You don't reside at your Airbnb.
No.
So explain that process, because you still have to be what's considered primary owner?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Is that something you could talk about?
What do you mean primary owner?
Or not primary owner, but primary. It has to be your primary place of residence. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's correct.
So is that something we could speak about or no?
Let's not.
Okay. All right.
But it's been a year.
Okay. All right. We won't speak about it, but I just want to know that's where the bills come in. That's where the address. That's okay. So basically, when you're getting all your mortgage and everything taken care of, you are still primary on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's on my license.
nice.
Nice. Okay.
Said it's on my-
What you say?
I need to go check the mail. It's like been months.
So, would you ever remove yourself entirely from real estate and just do Airbnb, or do you still want to buy, sell, all that? Do you still want to do all that, or how do you?
Hey man, real estate gets you a deal. So, like basically, I can buy homes, and instead of collecting my 3% on as a buyer's agent, since I'm representing myself, I can take the 3% out of the price and put that in the offer.
Wait, break that down for me. See, he's telling me he's giving these gems. Wait, break that part so you could take.
So look, I
You
get
make 3%
I get
as a
3%,
profit,
right?
right?
Regardless.
Right.
So when I put an offer in, if it's for me, I can just take the 3% out of that asking price and submit the offer. And it's like the same thing
It's
to
putting
them,
down
to
payment.
the owner. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Well,
hustle.
no.
See,
I
you
mean,
know
like,
it.
I'm still going to put a down payment.
Of course,
regardless,
obviously.
But like that gets knocked off the asking price.
So it's almost like double dipping.
Yeah.
That is a
Insane.
reason just to get a real estate license. I mean, that's awesome. So they don't have a cap on that. Like can you do that as many times as you want?
Yes. I mean, I'm not trying to do like multiple properties
Yeah,
yet,
obviously,
but yeah.
Wow.
Shoot.
That's a real estate hack. See, I didn't know that. Like all you people out there thinking, should I do real estate? Should I not? I know someone specifically right now that listens to us was gambling or not gambling, but she was like going back and forth with the fact of I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I should. I don't know. But there's so many there's so much upside. Like why would you not? So for a question, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
okay.
no, go ahead.
I mean, if I didn't sell, I don't know if I would get it. I mean, it's cool for Airbnb. I might use it once, but I don't know if I would have gone through the hassle of it if I was just gonna get Airbnbs and not try to sell or do it by represent anyone.
Is real estate for the person sitting there going, well, I don't even know how much real estate school costs. Is it pricey? And where would you go do it? Is it something
Not
you go
pricey.
to?
You can do it online.
What?
Yeah, you can
What?
do it online. I did it
Serious?
online.
I didn't know you. What?
Yeah.
So self-paced?
Honestly, you don't even when you study for that test, you know, you learn like some of the laws, like basic practices, but you really don't know. You don't really learn about being a real estate agent until you get in your broker and they start teaching you how to do it because people will graduate and it's like no one knows anything when they graduate. Yeah.
So what's it's just like a formality basically.
It's kind of like a formality. They don't
Okay.
want anyone just getting the license.
Right.
I mean, you learn like, you know, you do learn about laws but really the main law of it all is just like don't screw people, you know.
I mean, yeah, have integrity.
Just
when you do it.
have integrity. They're your
Integrity.
clients, you know, treat them as such, like, you know, like disclosure, just little things like that.
So I'm assuming you don't do engineering anymore.
I do.
What?
Yeah.
You still do?
Yeah, I work from home, so
Oh, okay. Wait, so you're doing real estate from home,
yeah,
engineering from home,
yeah.
managing Airbnbs from home. Do you leave home?
I'm not
Well,
at
we
home
still-
right now. I'm barely at home. I'm only home. I'm only home
Touche.
during my working hours, but usually I'm out after that. I mean, showings. I have the other office now, so I'll go to that office too,
Other office.
the real estate office.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know a couple. I know so many like sergeants, like who like
Want this info.
E6 is no. Well, it's not like that. I know like first sergeants and people who are lieutenants and stuff who are real estate agents. I'm serious. Like outside of like what they do, like if they're full-time guard,
Yeah.
they also do real estate.
It seems like
on
a
the
lot more
side.
people do it than what I thought. Like when you start talking about it, a lot of people are into it, and now a lot of people are quiet. Now you're very forthcoming. You're free with the information. Lesson guys, not everybody's going to give you this information, and a lot of people are going to try to charge you an astronomically ridiculous price to get the information. So
Yeah.
thank you for giving it because a lot of people
Yes,
don't.
please. Thank you.
A lot of people do not even have a clue, and they will go spend money on these ridiculous seminars and all this shit, and they don't come away with anything. Versus listening to us for whatever app you listen to us on for free, whatever, and you can get all this information. But so let me ask you this: you still do software engineering? You still do?
Yeah.
Are you still doing the gym, the Boston gym too, as well?
I
or
just do a day a week.
a day a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, you're a busy dude. And,
I love it.
and your relationship too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't y'all have no kids?
I need to come
man?
to that boxing
Yeah,
gym
right.
because my dad used to be a boxer and he used to teach me how to box as a
Shout
kid, so I
out
need to go.
what Jimenez Old School Boxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
In,
then
in Denton, Texas, is a staple. That's where I learned how to do my little boxing thing.
Nice.
I had done martial arts up until that point, but I learned how to actually use my hands properly. So yeah, thank you for that. Like,
Yeah, man.
I
Yes.
love that place. It's an old school.
I like
it feels
that.
like you're in a sweatshop. Like it's hot. It's got the big shop fans.
I got
like,
AC now.
Everything.
I got AC now.
No. We want to.
I mean, it's like 80 degrees, so it's still hot, but
But no, it makes you feel like what it should feel like. It's not like title boxing. No offense to them, but
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
gym. It's a real boxing gym. Like you will get your head knocked off if you go playing around in that gym. So,
fun part.
man, wow. You know what, man? This has been. And I'm trying to think what else I had. I think you answered so much. So go
I
ahead.
do.
Yeah, I'm trying to go ahead. I'm
It's
thinking.
been in my head.
What's up?
I just want to know, are you like, where do you want to expand to? Because I know,
Yes, good question.
like, expanding is such a big thing. Popularity and
Yeah.
expansion, just such. Where you want to? Is it like the tropics? You know, is it like up in the mountains? You know, there's such
like as far as
touristy
Airbnb
area, like
or-
Airbnb, touristy type. Do you want to even get into that realm?
So I want my next one. I want to go after this next one here in the
Mm-hmm.
DFW. I feel like the DFW for me right now is a safe route because I'm a little like closer. I can manage it kind of hands on, but once I
Mm-hmm.
start gaining more numbers, then it's all up to the management company at that point.
Oh.
But I want to do the beach, so I want to do Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Heard good things about a couple of different places in Florida. Probably from there, yeah, like Colorado.
Colorado, yeah.
So you're looking cabin, beach house, residential. Would you ever do a commercial space?
What do you mean commercial?
So I
Like
stayed.
a hotel type? deal,
Yeah. Well,
or-
I don't know exactly how they had it. I'm assuming this person bought an entire apartment building in downtown Chicago when we went back to.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when we went in, there was obviously tenants and stuff, right? But most of it was Airbnbs. So when I got there, I realized, oh, this person owns all this shit. Like they own the whole building. So they bought basically a commercial property and turned every single unit, almost every unit into. I think they had some that were long term stays for real. Like they might take a year out. You know, someone that had a little bit more status, right, might rent the whole top floor for a year, whatever. But all the other spots in the building were individual apartments that were all Airbnbs. Would you ever do something like that?
So like what would you call it? I mean, I guess I would start with like a duplex, triplex,
And then build from
Yeah,
there.
that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do.
and you could do like Airbnbs out of that too.
Right. You can do both sides, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can rent many rooms as you want.
Okay.
Depending on how big the place is too. You know, you could have like a big triplex or a quadruplex. I think. It's
Right.
called. Yeah.
At what point does that become too much to manage, though? Because you're only one man. If you start having, let's say you do have the property at the beach and in Colorado and the commercial property, and you still have your residential property. At what point do you say, okay, I need help? Do you move into like a management style team where you're overseeing a team of people overseeing your property? How do you? What's the next level up for you?
So that might be So I guess my next move would be like the goal would be to manage it myself, and then, but you know, then I like to focus on the growth, honestly. So I would just outsource that.
Yeah,
That's a good thing, yeah.
yeah. Because if you
I
spend
mean, I
too much
could,
time managing, then you
I
don't
could
spend
manage it myself, you know.
but then you're taking away from the actual growing
But I
process.
mean, technically, I wouldn't really be I'd be managing someone that manages it
right.
in the other state because I can't be, all these places at once. Especially when things break down, come on,
You can't
I can't
do
be
all
there.
of it.
Yeah.
Would you ever formulate your own management team and then make it an LLC?
I've thought about it, but the way I see management teams work, they do their properties local, and they usually don't manage a bunch of their own properties. They're managing other people's properties.
Why is
Yeah.
why?
I mean, that's like less. Think about it. They're putting less into it. Like
I got you.
they don't put any money out of pocket. They only
They're outsourced, basically.
Yeah.
I got you. So no overhead.
like they deal
Okay.
with cleaning all that. It's not that they work for that company. They're technically contractors still.
Okay.
And like they're not putting any money into it. Like they only make money if I make money. So if I don't get rented out, they don't make anything. But they're not paying anything either.
True too.
you know?
So I'm assuming that your ideology would be, I don't want to have my own cleaning crew because that's overhead. I don't want to have my own management company because that's overhead. So the only thing you want to do is pretty much own the properties and then outsource the rest.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do you keep your overhead low if you're doing it that way, as opposed to having your own subsidiaries of your own company saying, hey, this is Ben's cleaning, this is Ben's renovation, this is Ben's demolition, this is Ben's how do you keep money in-house and keep costs low if you have to outsource a lot?
So one thing I learned with going to the management company was I had that question too, because I was like, why don't I just rent it myself? And then I can hire someone to clean it and I can handle all the whole job, all the tasks. And I don't know, this company, they were able to market it better than I could. They know the market more. So like they know what they're doing. They know how to like show it right. They did all the pictures. They knew how to stage it right. See, I don't know about stuff like that. Like I'm not good at things like
It's
that.
that old saying, if you don't know how, you'd
Exactly.
be wise to get someone that does.
And I wasn't trying to
essentially. I
learn,
got
you know.
Yeah.
I'd rather be doing what
You
I
didn't
know
want
how
to
to
be
do.
vertically integrated, bro?
I mean,
to
like,
a certain degree you are. But
I want
yeah,
to
get what
work
you're
in
saying.
like things that I excel, and that's
Yeah.
like
That's
a small piece, you know.
Right.
But it's important. But it's not
Right.
something I need to learn.
Right.
per se.
marketing wise.
Yeah.
I suck at marketing, and I went to school for it too.
It's
It's so
it's a
hard.
hard thing to like.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's hard to hammer down what works because
Yeah.
it's ever changing too.
It is.
And what people like is
They're good at
knows?
it.
Yeah.
I'm creative and I draw and
but
I
that
see.
creativity today could be a whole different genre.
It is.
So,
It
okay.
is. But
Yeah.
marketing, I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'll hire somebody. If I could hire somebody to market for us, I would. I'm
Like
doing all this shit
they
myself right
they
now.
do this
so-
for a living, so
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
why not just let them do it? And
Yeah.
what I learned was they were able to get more money for renting it. Like they're able to rent it higher than like a lot of people that start Airbnb, you know, they say like start real low, build your reviews,
I was
and then
going
you start jacking the price up.
Yeah.
Because then you're like established, you know. They're like an established host on Airbnb, so they're like a super host. They do it the
Wait, what does a
opposite.
super host mean, by the way?
They manage like
Yes.
multiple properties.
Okay.
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 And
That's
then-
what you're aiming for, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it
okay.
was just the ratings.
I
I mean,
thought
I think
it
it
was-
might be ratings too. I don't know
It's a
all,
combination
all
of
the things
things.
of it. But I
Okay.
mean, I know I'm not a super host. You know?
Okay. All right, we're going to get you there, buddy. We're going to put all your information out so you can go find his Airbnbs. So, yeah.
But like basically, they were able to go like big fish hunting. When I say that, it's like you think of if I book this house, you know, for December, it's so far out, I'm gonna get a good rate. And they do it the opposite. So they do the high rates far out, and then they do the low rates
It's just the data.
closer to.
You know what? I know. Okay, so you're not wrong. I was wondering that because I tried to book. I forget where we were going, but I was like, "Why is it so high? Like this is so far in advance." And You're
Yeah.
thinking in the same vein as a plane ticket.
Yeah.
If I buy my plane ticket for December right now, it's probably not going to cost that much. When
Yeah.
I get there day of, it's like astronomically high, right?
Yeah.
So it works in reverse with Airbnb.
I mean, I don't know if it works in reverse with Airbnb, but
But
the way
the-
the management company does the pricing, that's how they do it.
They do it in reverse.
And like it's worked out because when I get bookings that are early, it's like a big lump of change.
Wait, sorry,
You're good,
I
go
was
ahead.
kind of confused about that. I have to ask why. Like that's why I was asking about that peak season because
They book earlier or higher earlier.
You know, like for Christmas and stuff like that. Like if you book,
Maybe
it
is it?
just
But, like,
maybe
think-
it's a security issue. Maybe they want to secure the place, and they don't mind paying it. Could
So,
that be it, or-
so that I don't know what it is, but the way that works, it keeps the place full more. It keeps it more full.
that is a good. Write that down. Don't charge high at first. Charge high late and charge low at first. Right? It's essentially, right?
I know
Like-
they have like apps and stuff that will set the price and they'll like adjust with your place and like
Right.
it's supposed to be really accurate too.
Well, there's an app for that.
It's like a website. You like connect it with your Airbnb. Now I didn't have to do this because I don't manage it, but
Right.
like it's like an artificial intelligence and it like fluctuates your price according to season and peak.
Right.
It has a bunch of data
It's
that
almost
it
like
goes
giving
by.
you fair market
Yeah.
value, so to speak. I got you.
And like, I mean, some people think like people will ask me like, "What do you have it listed at?" And I'm like, "I don't know," because it never is the same.
fluctuates.
You know. So
So, what does your Airbnb range from? Let's say right now, if I want to get your Airbnb today, what would I pay for
I see it on the website today. I think 150.
a night?
But when you
that's
get to the
during the
weekends,
week-
it's like
okay.
400, 500 a night.
What type of Airbnb do you
You
have, sir?
have, like,
what? Not that I mind, but I'm trying. What's worth $400 a night, buddy?
So it sleeps 14 people.
That's why.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
And
a
that's
big
why-
one.
that's why. you
That's
want
why I
the
like a
bigger
lot of
ones.
bedrooms. Yeah. 'Cause
Yes.
think about it. You
How
can
many bedrooms is it?
4.
4. And how do you set up? How do you have it set up to sleep 14?
So I personally like the converted garage. Why does the Airbnb host need a garage? You know,
right.
like
Yeah.
why
you're
would
not-
I need? I don't care about your car. Honestly,
It's like you ain't rolling up in
you
my
have-
garage.
it's not
you have
like
a
you're gonna
driveway.
have it,
You have a
like-
driveway.
Yeah,
You
you're
have-
either going to Uber or rent, and most people are just going to
Yeah.
park out in the driveway anyway. So who cares?
You're not
So-
walking far. You know, it's
Right,
right there.
right.
Did you like install a air conditioning and everything?
No.
like that?
So it was actually I bought it. It had a converted garage.
So what does it look like on the inside?
It looks good. But the garage,
Yeah, the garage.
it looks like a huge room.
Wow.
Like they carpeted everything. It has its
can't
own
even
AC, everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
That's nice.
yeah, that's actually
Okay.
very smart. Okay, so larger house.
And it's kind of separate. What's nice too is I was able to put let's see, that room sleeps 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 people, and it's like separated from the main rooms because it's a garage. Remember?
Yeah,
So and it has its own full bath right there, right
Yeah.
next to it. And I mean, think you could throw all the kids in that room.
right.
Yeah.
Right
That's
there.
actually
It's
smart.
Sleeps 8 people.
Yeah, that's smart.
And,
And it's not partitioned on the inside; it's just all one big space.
Yes, one big room.
I got you. Okay.
Like beds and
That's
bunk
actually
beds
very
and
smart.
stuff
I have bunk
like
beds,
that.
yeah. 2 bunk beds, like a
Backyard, front yard, all that?
full twin, and a queen.
How
Nice.
do you have a backyard, front yard, all that stuff too?
Yeah.
Are you the type of host that outfits the backyard to be more comfortable? Or
I
just
didn't. I just
didn't. Okay. I've
like
seen
it was my
people have
first
that.
thing, so
Yeah, of course.
Man, I was just trying to get it out on the market because
Right.
I was losing money. You know, I was paying the mortgage and my rent, and I was
Right.
like,
Of course. Are those things that bring more value to the property though, or to the
Yeah,
Airbnb?
they would.
amenities.
They would.
The amenities. Okay. Would you ever have a pool? Would you do an Airbnb?
So
with a
I'm
pool?
looking for one with a pool right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
What does that entail as far as maintenance?
I'm gonna
though? 'Cause-
learn.
Yeah, because
I
I
don't
know
know.
you
I'm
got
gonna
to
learn.
maintain the amount of like the pool, like the
know,
cleanliness, all that stuff.
Like on a Google, I googled. I did a little bit of research. I think like maybe like 2,000 a year. But I mean, if you
That's
break
not
it
that
down by the
bad, though.
month,
Yeah.
and then you break it by like how much more you can charge, you can start
Right.
charging more now. You know,
And
it's gonna pull
especially
in more
peak
money
season,
too.
like
So,
summertime. That's the one.
mhm.
I would say
So
competition wise.
you're like May from like
And
May
yeah,
to
that
September.
separates you from other homes too.
A
You
lot.
know, like that's a big.
I haven't seen a
amenity.
whole lot of Airbnbs with pools. I'm assuming because it's a costly thing too. Or it can be.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you wouldn't make that your first Airbnb.
No, but you know the management team can deal with it.
Right,
I mean, I'm
right.
sure they're gonna call me about some
Right.
pump or like I don't know about pools like that. So
I know a little, not much. I did it. I had a pool cleaning job when I was
Mm-hmm.
in high school for the summer, and I hated it. They made me swim to scrub grout and shit, and never again.
I mean, I know people that know. I know people that know about pools,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
can call some people.
Would you get
Yeah.
a saltwater pool? No, those are
Oh.
I don't
really
know.
popular.
I don't even
Sure.
know. I just
How
heard
about
about those
pools?
recently. I don't even.
Oh, you-
I wouldn't. Like if
you-
it cost me, if it already had it, sure, but nah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go for it. I almost put a little hot tub in my last house.
That's
But-
how you do.
Design?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
charge more.
Would you
Yeah.
say like the more amenities you have, the better competition, like better competing with other Airbnb?
I mean, yeah, like there's so many factors. Think about when you stay somewhere. Like, what do you like? Like, you
Yeah.
gotta think of how the consumer
Yeah.
thinks. You know, what are
Yeah.
they gonna want?
For me, it's a comfortable bed.
yes,
I've stayed in some Airbnbs where it was like the hardest bed. Like the one in
Oh.
Chicago. Oh, I thought my back was gonna break.
Let me speak
the
on.
shit was a loft, but like the bed was like hard,
Yeah.
bro. Like that part to me is like everything.
Let me speak on like furnishing because that's another thing that's like.
Please, yeah.
So when I went to this company, they had like kind of stricter requirements. So they made me get like double the amount of everything. So like double the amount of plates. So I have 14 guests, so that's like 28 big plates, medium plates, small plates. We got bowls, smaller
Everything,
bowls,
yeah.
like all the pans,
Yeah.
utensils. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Towels, dude. I spent like $400 or $500 on just towels.
Did you go white?
Yeah,
This is random.
yeah.
yeah, you always
See,
go
I'm-
away.
Always
Why
go
does
white,
everybody-
yeah.
I'm
Because you
like-
can bleach it.
Oh, true.
It'll always
Yeah.
stay white.
There
Yeah.
you go. You're right. Yes.
So they do white towels
Because
at
I was
hotels.
thinking I would get black towels, but you're not wrong. Like
And
you
same
can't-
with bedding. I mean, the
yeah.
beds were already, a pretty penny, like mattresses,
Right.
all that.
Yeah.
But then you had all the I had to. It was like a mattress cover for every mattress because you're not trying to mess with
Yeah.
if someone has
Bodily
bed bugs
fluids,
or something.
whatever, yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
That. I gotta get double the sheets, double the comforters, double
Oh,
the
wow.
pillowcases. Every bed has 4 pillows. They were so strict about that, and I was like, really?
Not gonna lie, our bed has 4 pillows too. I get it.
I got a
2 of
ton
them
of
get
pillows.
removed every night, but
there's-
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. There's
Yeah.
4 on the bed,
Yeah.
and then there's 2 on the
Yeah.
floor. When you
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty charge. I have.
You sleep with all 4?
I
But you
have.
sleep by yourself.
I
You
have
can do that.
8. I have like 10 pillows.
Well,
I
just
sleep
take
in the-
half of them and put them in your new Airbnb. You'll be fine.
I live a lab of luxury when
Oh,
it
here
comes
we
to my
go.
bed.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
Actually, it was like I bought nicer stuff for the Airbnb than my own apartment, and I was kind of salty.
But that's
when
your
I,
moneymaker, though. You got to.
Yeah,
You're not
but,
making money.
like-
In I mean, if you are making money in your own house,
I was just like,
cool,
man,
but
I should get this speaker for
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
do you ever worry about theft of property? And how
I
do you-
was at first,
right
but
because
I
you're talking
haven't
about
had
these nice
anything.
things.
I haven't had anything.
I guess people just kind of respect the establishment.
Maybe
then
they don't
they'll
know.
be recorded
I mean,
too,
it's
though,
it's
right?
pretty
Like,
full.
You can't
It's in a
record
little
inside,
neighborhood.
right?
It's-
You're recording
No,
outside,
yeah,
so that you will see
outside.
them taking stuff out.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, all right. If that ever was to happen, is it insurance?
I guess so.
You just better hope it never happens.
I mean,
right?
it is insurance because that's in my whatever
Clause.
insurance
Yeah.
documents or whatever.
What's up?
That's interesting though, because I know are you able to sense how many people are?
Yeah, with the camera, we can just see
Yeah.
them walk in.
If you
Okay.
We have the entrances all surveillance.
So if you see more than anticipated,
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
So there's fees for that stuff.
Oh.
It'll be on the when
really?
you book it, you can put you put the amount of people that are there, and then depending on the host, they will let you know hey, okay, you're cleared for these people. If you want to add any other guests, it's X amount a night or whatever.
and if you basically hide that information and they find out,
Yep. Then they'll charge you.
You could now. Do you charge the exact same price you would have charged for an extra night, or do you have a premium price? Like, let's say you were going to charge me $100 if I told you about the extra person.
Yeah.
But then you found it on the back end about the extra person. Does it cost more than $100, or is
So
it?
I don't know exactly how they do it because they handle everything. But
Right.
what I've seen on other Airbnbs, yeah, they'll have like a little penalty charge that they'll add if you like snuck some extra people in. You know?
And also affects you as a renter, as a consumer
Yes.
too, right?
Yes.
It's two-way street as far as rating and all
You
that.
can like review them and all that.
Wow.
Have you had that situation?
No, I've gotten good reviews from my. I just show up and leave. I say I don't take it on break. That's it, man.
I mean, like, what if people are having like a party?
Yeah.
I guess, and they have like extra people. You know how people are.
Yes.
They have extra
Yeah.
people that come in, and then sometimes they pass out and stay. It's like,
I don't know about all that.
I want to give it
like,
or if they're not staying, like,
Or
do they
if,
still?
or if you
they
see
still,
the party, do you just shut it down?
yeah, that's
Because like, let's say
yeah.
you see on the camera, I'm sure you get a notification.
or
Let's
like a
say
decibel thing. Yeah, you could.
you can.
I mean,
Wow.
it says it even on there. It's like no parties, blah blah blah.
So
you know.
would you do that, or management company does that?
Management does.
You're
everything.
you're never
I
involved.
will never.
That's the question I asked. So you're always hands
I
off.
don't
for
even
the
know
most
who's
part.
in my house. Like,
Okay.
I've never.
Which why would you care, right?
He just makes the money.
Yeah, as
That's
long as-
about
Send a
it.
check.
There you go. All right.
I have learned a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm trying to. I think you got it all. Like, man.
Yeah, I just never heard of the management company because
I
I
didn't
know
even know that was a
people who,
thing.
I know people who just do it themselves. Like one of my friends, he does it himself. He also does the cleaning himself, and he's the one who
Wait,
did all the
Does
decorations
he
and
have
everything.
a lot of homes or just one?
He has an apartment, like the apartment complex he lives in. He has 2 more apartments
Oh
that
Lord.
he.
But that's like
I would go his
Airbnbs
route.
That's,
Yeah.
No, but he's in his complex. Like if I
Yeah.
were super close, yeah, but I'm like off 30 and
Yeah.
it's like 15 minutes with no traffic.
Yeah.
And then there's always traffic on 30.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Always.
So, yeah.
So management company.
Yeah, definitely.
So to break it all, to put it all in a nutshell, what would you tell a person if it was a student in class that said, "Hey, what are like the main things I should think about when I'm going into this?" Like to recap, like what would you tell someone from point A to point B? Like,
Yeah.
what would you tell them in a nutshell? If it was an elevator pitch, so to speak, like what would you say?
Yo, plan ahead. Plan ahead.
Plan
Because I
ahead.
just jumped into it. I had plans, but like I was learning I like to learn,
Of course.
taking
Yeah.
action. So
Right.
I definitely could do it way better this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still doing great. So I'm
Yeah.
no regrets at all.
That's
Plan
really
ahead.
Good. Plan
Plan ahead,
ahead.
do your research. One question I wanted to ask you before we wrap this all up with you. As a man of color, have you experienced any obstacles based on that stuff at all?
In the
Whether
Airbnb
it be from lending to Airbnbs to any kind of funding, like in any part of the process, has skin tone, race, have you felt it? Have you seen it? Have you experienced that yet?
I haven't. I've worked with like all Hispanic, real estate agents,
Okay,
lenders,
so-
everything.
so not yet.
They took care of me, man.
Hey, I mean, hey, we gotta look out for each other.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't blame him.
No,
I mean,
If
I didn't
from-
meet like the owner or anything. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I was, when
You
you go to
found
the
a
real
way to
estate agent,
circumvent that.
they handle everything. Like I'm not gonna touch anything. They won't meet me. I won't meet any agents. I'll only know my realtor.
See,
That's really
See,
good,
black
Drew.
and brown people, we can work together.
We can.
We can. We just need us in different areas to pull it all together. Like
Mm-hmm.
that example, that hike I do every Saturday with all those guys. Those are all black gentlemen. You're invited to. I've been telling you this.
Yeah.
But those are all black gentlemen that are in accounting, finance, banking, like all these different industries.
Yeah.
It's no different than what you just said. And we all kind of share information like a think tank.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have you here. Now we can kind of exchange and meet other people, reach across the aisle. That's what it takes to get an infrastructure going that looks more like us. So
Yeah.
having you sitting here is like super crucial, dude. There's a lot of people, like I said, that look like us that need this information. That just want to know, like,
Yeah.
I want to do this. I don't want to work for this person forever. I don't want to work for someone for the rest of my life. How can I break away? Like,
Yeah.
So thank you for telling everybody
Yes.
that. Honestly, seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, man, this was really good. I'm actually
good. It was good.
I want to go listen to this myself because I have so many notes I need to take. I didn't take any notes today, but dude, I want to go back and listen to this now. So yeah.
I know I will.
Yeah, heck
Because
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just, especially like I'm from, a different country, and our real estate is just a lot different than here.
She's from the islands.
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
from
didn't
the
know.
islands, and definitely like in Panama, where I'm originally from, in the West Indies, where my parents are from, like my mother's from. Our real estate pricing for homes are just a lot different than here. So it's good to me, I've always wanted to invest in my own country. So this just really opened my eyes to the benefits of what I can do.
Yeah.
And it's because we have so many beaches, we have so many people who visit.
Yes.
Our tourism is just huge in the West Indies and Panama. So this was really knowledgeable. I loved it.
If you can get it for your home country and do something yourself there, you'd rather do that than have someone else come in and start taking your shit. Like what's happening in Puerto Rico. Like there's a lot of places around the world where Americans are moving and just setting up shop and like trying to kick people out. This whole gentrification thing is like running rampant.
Yeah.
I personally don't mind gentrification if it's by way of us doing it for ourselves.
I mean, Atlanta's gentrified, but it's with Black folks.
I look at that more as enriching my community.
It is enriching,
yeah. Like gentrification by default is like really just taking some shit.
Exactly.
I would rather us do what you're doing and what you're talking about doing, and what I would love to start doing is enrich the community by buying some of those properties, whether it be a pharmacy or Airbnb. Like this type of knowledge does not just stop at Airbnb; it can translate across the board. So I definitely appreciate you coming in.
Yes,
man.
we do. Definitely, it was very educational.
We'll have you come back do some more real estate talk,
man.
and we'll pick another segment of real estate somewhere outside of Airbnb, and you can just teach all that stuff. You just teach master classes all you want to.
Yeah, I can teach how to maintain the pool.
I want to know about that. I want to know about that.
I should be there next.
Let's give Ben a round of applause. I'm going to get it right this time.
Right.
Oh, there it is. See? And air horns, too. All right. There we go. Hey, appreciate you coming in, man. Thank you
really
very much.
do.
Anything for us before you go? You taught us so much. Is there anything for us before you go?
Oh man,
You know him for a while. I put you on the spot. It's cool. It's your stuff. Yeah.
I was going with your script.
Yeah. Nah. All right, man. Well, thank everyone. Thank Ben. If you need him for anything, I'm going to put all of his stuff up in the description of the show. I'll make sure to put it up on on all of our socials. I'll tag him. Whatever you need. If you need to ask him anything, reach out to me or the show. Ask the Pod. You can AskThePodd and ask any question that you might have missed or something that you need to know. I'm sure he's available. We'll get any information to you that you might want for this kind of stuff. So, Ben, we're gonna have you come back. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, man. Very nice to meet you. We're gonna walk him out real quick. We'll be right back. All right, that was dope.
That was extremely
Ben,
good.
one more time for Ben.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh my God.
Sounds like it was tooting. But yeah, no, that was such a good segment. I'm so happy that we did that. That was, man, because I had questions for him, but I'm like, I don't want to blow his phone up all the time. He's busy, and we're all busy. But the fact that he has so much good information, oh my gosh, like that was good.
I was nervous.
You were nervous?
Because I was just like, man, I've never asked these questions before.
But
you know what? I researched. I just did, I did my research.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do want to ask these amazing questions.
Yeah.
And some of them just came kind of out of the blue once he was talking about certain things.
Yeah.
It was just easy for me to ask kind of like questions that I did not write down.
Right.
So,
and he's very easy to talk to, too.
very easy.
Yeah, he's a nice dude. I love that dude. He's a good dude. Well, that took up most of the show. That was
That
all right.
did.
I didn't have topics. So I just wanted to hear what he had to say about
I
all
did
that.
too.
I was totally cool with not having any topics today.
I was too.
Yeah.
I was glad that I also asked him questions about, the VA thing when it comes to Airbnb.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing either, so that was
Yeah.
good. So all you VA members out there are veterans. That's a necessary piece of information for you too. So coming off the back of like an event that talked about how Dallas housing issues really like pigeonholed us for so long.
Time.
To come off of that type of event last week, right? And then to sit and talk to him about where we're headed with like housing and Airbnb. It's like, oh, you can see where like they're starting to bridge the gap, right? Like there's been this like Black people live here and they don't have any equity or any access.
The redlining.
It's
all
essentially,
this stuff. Yeah.
It's just, pull it up just a little bit right there.
sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
There it is. No, but the redlining, that's still a thing.
It is.
It doesn't get talked about in that same vein, but it's essentially the same thing.
And I'm glad you asked him that question. because I'm like, does he remain anonymous?
Oh,
Does his picture show? Like, do they know?
Oh, you're talking about him being a person of color in this industry.
Yeah, when you asked them that, like, I was like, that is a good one.
Because that's where we think about it as a consumer. I can remember my grandmother going to Dexham Estates in Rowlett, right? Texas. That's where I grew up for the most part. I remember when we first moved from the hood out there, we were looking for houses, right? Okay, we got our first house. It was cool, but she wanted to move across the other side of the bridge. And so we went to Dexham Estates, and they did what was called steering. And so the realtor, this white realtor, steered her right away from that house. And within weeks or so, not too long after that, she sold it to a close friend of hers who just so happened to be a white couple, right? And so that kind of shit was happening a lot. And I feel like it still happens. I feel like we still get steered and we just don't know that that's happening. But they will find ways to circumvent us from living in these neighborhoods if they possibly can. And a lot of times redlining is not at the forefront, but it's the ideology, if that makes any sense. Yeah. You can't legally do it, but it's
there.
Yeah, it's there.
There, you hear stories about it. There was a couple of stories, you hear about this one couple who, they were on CNN, I think. They were talking about how they changed their name. And remember?
Yes, they put pictures of white family members in the house. Yes, that's what they did, yes. And they removed any ethnic piece of anything in the house, whether it be, food, anything.
Anything.
And they basically whitewashed the house to sell it at a higher value.
Yeah.
When they listed it as them,
yes.
I think it was, let's say hypothetically, it was $300,000, right? When they listed it as white, it was like $300 to $400, almost double what they asked for.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's not to me, that's no different than redlining. It's the same thing.
No different. Steering, all this kind of stuff. It's sad.
It is, but the caveat to that is having a conversation with a person of color who's working with people of color in the industry, whether it's lenders or banking or renovations, any part of that process. He told me I think he said they were all brown, all people of color. I'm like,
that's what he did. He said that they are
beautiful because you can do all the other stuff we just talked about, but now representation is what matters. So if you have us in those key pockets, you can kind of sidestep a lot of the bullshit that we used to have to deal with. If I pull up to the lender office and it looks like you or him or me, I don't feel, okay, I got a shot. I at least got a shot. But if I pull up to Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase or any of these other big white corporation lending companies do any type of home ownership, mortgage program, any of that kind of stuff, I don't always feel like it's going to be a fair shake. And I know that sucks to say that, but it's the truth. Like
sometimes, like, especially because even though I'm a guard, I'm still considered a vet.
Right.
When they find out that you're military, usually they're a little bit better on treating you than if you're not. I have seen like us get treated a little, like I've told one of my friends, like, they steered me in this direction. It was a beautiful neighborhood. Like the house was fully renovated. They had modern day appliances. And my friend who, she's also Afro-Latino, she was like, that is not what they steered me to.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is she darker or lighter?
She's darker.
Colorism.
Yeah.
That's also
That's
a thing.
Another thing.
For all you people with your notepads still out, we're not done yet. Colorism is a thing.
Yeah, because her name is Josenia. But when you look at her, they're thinking that she's like my skin tone or a little bit lighter. Like, their typical way of what they see, what Latin people, America, what the U.S. depict us as.
Depict you as, yes.
And so, she was just like, girl.
That's so sad, though.
It is, and it's sad. It's sad because I didn't know much about, like, I'm Latin. I know a lot about colorism.
But again, where you're from is not really as prominent like it is here.
It's there. Right. Like, we know. Like, it's clear as day.
But it's not a culture.
But it's not a culture thing. Yeah. Like, we're, like, living in the West Indies and Panama, they don't go by that. It's like we're all a family and we take care of each other. You know, how much money you have, you're going to live in, like, I don't know, on top of the mountain or something like that, or have a bigger house, but it doesn't really change how our cultures are. It really doesn't.
The culture is a culture.
The culture is a culture. You can have this much of money, but people still love you. You still cool to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of think our country works the same way, but in reverse. Like, our culture is our culture.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money I have. I'm still black.
I
You
think,
you know,
yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Like
I
our
think the
culture is
U.S.
still our
is,
culture.
yeah, I think the U.S. is just like, you can be, I don't, to be honest
The
with you,
president.
you can be the president, you can be, I don't know, Beyonce, but I'll be honest with you, I bet you a bottom dollar. No white folk or whatever like that, that don't like black people gonna be like, oh, you Beyonce? Oh, okay. They don't care.
There's always one.
There's always that one.
Yes,
It's
there
just,
is.
it's just,
And that
That's
one,
how
that
it
one,
is.
the problem, and the reason that we talk about all these things is because that one could be in a position to stop the many,
yeah.
and they could be standing in the gap. And so, if we're trying to erase or change racial inequity, discrimination, redlining, any of these practices that we've talked about for the past year almost, that are just heinous and disgusting, you got to have people like Ben, right?
You do have to have people like Ben.
You do.
Literally, you have
do.
to have people like Ben
In your back
because
pocket too, because you never know.
it's all about representation. You're like, okay, well, like, and it's all about building up our community. We want to have more people of color that we can go to for banking and
not?
real estate. A lot of Asian folks, they do it. They got their
Yeah.
own little commercial malls and all that kind of
Everything.
stuff and banking and it's, we need to get there. And I know, like, history wise, you know, black people here, they have had it and then burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it's a fear of, if we do it again, how many Rosewood and Tulsa's.
I mean,
and
that happened in Dallas too,
yeah,
right?
and it's
So,
just like,
yeah.
how many times when we build up a company,
Community.
a community of our own, will it get burnt down again?
You
Will
know,
we have that again?
But honestly,
Yeah.
you still got to do it.
Is that? And I was
You
saying
do.
that you still got to do
You
it.
do, because it comes a point where they can't burn it all down.
No.
And if we just keep on replicating, keeping money in house, expanding, sharing knowledge, not being stingy,
be
not being
just
a crab in a
prideful.
bucket. Yes.
Because in a lot of West Indians and Latin people, especially in a lot of West Indian cultures, you can't just come up there and be like, well, I'm gonna take this. They'll be like, not today.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are very a prideful people.
And we are very oppressed.
Yes, and very
people
oppressed. Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yes.
They're prideful, but the pride doesn't go as far as the
Yeah.
oppression. I just want us as people, especially people that look like you and I, whether it be Afro-Latino, Black, Hispanic, whatever, Black and brown people, and our white allies,
Yes.
joined to make this thing go forward.
Exactly.
And that's what he's doing. I love what he said.
I love it.
Again, him saying that so I thought he was going to have a white lender or at some point anywhere in the
But
process,
I'm glad he
right?
said what he
When he
said
said they
then.
were all brown, I was like, yo, what? Then that is something that I've never heard of before. Because I have a white realtor that I talked to in Seattle for further down the line. I want to move there at some point. Nicest lady on the planet. Like, she's not
Very
racist,
sweet, yeah.
super sweet lady, but still,
You just want that.
the lender up there is also white. So it's like, I'm trusting you to do right by me, but there is this part of me that makes it very hard for me to trust those processes because of how we've been handled.
Treated
And so
I understand.
yeah, so
I
like that's
definitely-
why whenever I need real estate, I call him immediately. Like, I'm so glad that I have him in my pocket. I can just go, hey, I got a question for you.
And I
Because I
think
don't want
that's
to run
important.
the risk of, you know what I mean, being steered in the wrong, even if it's not steered from the wrong neighborhood, they might just take you down a rabbit hole of information that doesn't even help you. And so having someone that's giving you real information and true to real time information that is not to send you off on a wild goose chase, is really just trying to help you, you got to thank those people. And if you don't have one, well, we
Get
just gave you
yourself
one.
one.
We just gave you one.
Yeah,
we
we
just gave
did.
you one. All right.
Yes.
Well, before we got here again, our condolences to our buddy T. I know he's going through it today. I will give you his last words, or if you want to give your last words, and he wanted me to read something to the audience that he wrote, which is actually very deep and heartfelt.
I think we should go with that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So T wanted, in light of what happened, he lost his uncle to cancer. So give him some condolences, and like, hopefully you guys are nice to him. Like, he just probably needs some people to be there for him right now, including us. So he said to the audience, sorry he couldn't be here today, but please say this on the show for me today. And I quote, it says, never take life for granted or the people that we have in our life. No beef or disagreement should stop you from becoming a better man or person. As I get older in this world and I see how the world works, I wish I could go back and change things. All of the beef and shit I did as a youngster never prepared me for the real situations in life. I have lost so many and I have learned how to deal with pain. When you lose someone from something you can't prevent, it hits different. Always love and always stay positive. If you have family that you love, give them flowers while they are here, or live to regret what you never fixed. Your Uncle T. Boy, I don't know who that is that wrote that, but T,
Damn.
round of applause,
He's about
sir.
to have me
Yeah, I
cry.
almost cried out. You hear me stutter? I was like, God,
Yeah.
T, God dang. Yeah, man, thank you, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. He's not
He
wrong.
really isn't.
He's not wrong. Part of the reason I brought this whole thing together was to create a sense of community that we in the city don't seem to have. There's pockets of bullshit and but there's not pockets of positivity. And anyone out there listening, I want to be a part of the pockets of positivity. I could care less about the salacious shit. Everything he just said is super hard hitting. It's about being family. It's about giving people flowers where they're here, putting differences to the side. Like, you can't be above change and growth. And obviously, I've been working with this man for almost a year to help him change, and maybe we're making some inroads. So I'm so happy that he wrote that, and I'm happy to have him as a part of the show. We can't wait for him to get back. Do you have any? I know that's a hard one to follow, huh?
It's because like when he made that, it really, it hit really bad.
Yeah.
So T is definitely right.
Yeah, because you just lost someone too.
Really,
Yeah.
in a really bad situation.
Yeah, I don't have.
Yeah. So
You want my handkerchief? I have a handkerchief. I was using that when I was sweating like a hoe in church.
I gotta get your sweaty ass handkerchief. Is it sweaty too?
No, it's not sweaty.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're good, man.
No, I
it's
mean,
too- it's-
he's
it's-
right.
Yeah, he is, man. He is.
You gotta, man. I just,
And RIP to your brother too.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
I
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I sat in my bathtub the other night and cried too. Since we're all gonna cry together, I sat in my bathtub the other night and poured a glass of wine, and I talked to my grandfather, and because I just wish he was here to see all this stuff. He would be so happy to see just this.
Yeah.
He would be so happy to see us trying to unite people. He would be so happy to see, like, you're using your brain for good. Like, I used to use my brain for bullshit. So for what he said, yeah, I wish that I had just one more time to say, hey, Grandpa, come to the studio.
yeah.
We don't always get a last moment. So yeah, that's a very,
wish too.
very important piece. I know this is a side tangent before we just came
No,
from, but,
I know.
but it's all important though.
Yeah.
Like, the real estate is important, being a family is important, settling things, moving forward. This is all about growth. This whole show, that big P right there, when I drew that at the hospital one night, sorry I wasn't doing any work. When I drew that and I wrote the name out, I was like, unpack this podcast or prophetic podcast. And then I started thinking about all the things my mom had taught me and my grandfather and all
very
that.
prophetic.
And it was about speaking things into existence, community manifestations, all these things we talk about. So he hit it on the head.
Yeah.
He did. He definitely did.
Smile.
Yeah,
Tell
man. Be
people
nice.
please, because and I live in a really, really, really. Drew can test for it. I live in a really cool neighborhood.
It's cool, but some of those people are really not that cool.
No, it's
yeah,
just
I know.
I
Yes.
see like there's a lot of Black people who are influxing, who are young, who are starting to live in the community. It's a
Yeah.
very mixed community that I live in. But you smile, you be like, hey, and they just
You know what that
don't
is.
smile. Like, what is it?
Because a lot of people, and this is not to, we won't stay here, we're about to leave.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. I'm
a lot-
sorry.
no, you're good. I'm thinking about that because it's the same thing when I got to the suburbs. There was 3 families, us, the Darthards, and the Thompsons, and the Abernathys. That was our family, 3 households. It's like, where are the rest of the people of color in this
Yeah.
neighborhood? Finally, I think we got a 4th one probably in the last 10 years.
I say
But it's
smile
just,
though.
it's bad. Like,
because I think I'm most disappointed is like, because I know even though I'm a different culture, I'm still Black. So it's
oh,
just
here you black.
you Black. I'm just Black.
Yeah.
But it's nice that other people like white folks that are in my neighborhood, they can be smiling. Hi, good morning. How you doing? And not one time the Black people that live in this can say good morning or whatever. Nothing. It's like, come on, man.
There's a few of us.
There's so like
Yeah.
smile, like especially like me. I come from like in the culture. Everybody's like, good morning.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
I'm just saying, you guys. Like T said, don't take life for granted and just be happy and enjoy it. And please give people their flowers. Meet
And
people.
Stop the bullshit.
Yes.
Who cares?
Yes.
I'm so nice to everybody. I am.
Too.
There's some people that I work with that are just the nastiest people to me. And I'm like the nicest person in the world. Like, I might get on your nerves. I might be too driven at times. I might be overbearing, but with my drive. It's not like I'm just blowing you up to be talking about bullshit. Like, I might just be overbearing about all this show shit. But like, I'm like the nicest person. Like, once you really get to know me, I'm so nice, and I'm always that nice because I never know who I'm talking to. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was at that event last week. And then we'll wrap it up. Sorry, I know we're just going. But at that event last week, I didn't even realize it was the director of Dallas Public Libraries I was speaking to. I was just grabbing a book because they had like a pile of these books, right? They were giving away 33,000 copies or something like that day, or 30,000. And so I was grabbing a couple. And she was just the nicest lady. Had her little mask on like it was 2020. But she was so nice. She never told me who she was. And to this day, she has never told me who she was. I saw her online. I was looking at the photos. Yeah. And I was like, oh, who's that lady? She looks, oh, that's the lady I was talking to. So I started hitting the hashtag or the tags. I was like, oh, that's the direct. Oh, I was supposed to interview her. Wow. Like, what if I was a dick to this lady? What if I was a complete jerk to that lady? What if I was a jerk to Will Evans? What if I was a jerk to Jim Schutz or all these people that I talked to?
That's why.
What if I was a jerk to Leah? Like, what if I was just a jerk and I was just cocky or arrogant or any of that stuff, and I'm not? Like,
you would have not that many opportunities.
You wouldn't make any connections. You won't make connections for life, period. So what he said was absolutely correct. No beef is too big. No arguments too big. Like, just let all that shit go. Family, positivity, growth, that is it. That's why we have been here today to talk about growth.
Yep.
T left us with some growth. We're going to leave y'all with some growth. Keep being prophetic. I don't even have my outro today. It's just, I'll read that next time. We'll get to it. But just keep being prophetic and manifesting things. Keep putting things in the forefront of your brain that are positive, not negative. Keep being family oriented, whether that be with your respective family or your friends. Keep being nice. Keep being genuine. Keep trying new things. And this real estate thing he talked about, you definitely need to try that. You definitely need to get your notebook back out and go back and figure out where you can get started, because he gave you every starting point. So from us to you, thank you for listening as always. We had some tears today, some laughs, some everything, some knowledge. Like, it was hard. Yeah, T's never made neither one of us cry. The hell? Like, but that's good. He's growing. Yeah, T, bless you, dude. So we will see you next time. Anything else? No?
You guys are good. Have a beautiful day. Bye.